Welcome back to our movie review on humans. In this episode, we will see the rise and large number of AI robots with conscious and how they go around with their newly discovered freedom. I made a note of how ingenious it was to use the synths as the only technology to set this fictitious planet apart from our own at the start of the first Humans series. It lessens interruptions, increases the effectiveness of allegory, and brings the program's many philosophical issues into stark focus. This choice naturally generates some implausibility issues, the most notable of which is, why are all AIs humanoid? Although it makes sense for the majority of synth jobs we've seen, such as nanny, service worker, and sex worker, would 4 limbs, a head, and a torso truly be the best design if synths were to work in mine shafts or chemical factories? Even if it were, would they all have to be human height averages? They are the kind of queries that are readily dismissed under the justification that making them human-like would make a more interesting tale. Yet, it becomes apparent from Hester's account of her time spent in the chemical plant that their humanoid look is as much of a problem as their developing consciousness. She describes the unfairness by saying, "They didn't treat the other machines like us." She does this by eliciting as much artificial rage as she can. As we get closer and closer to what seems inevitable, a full-scale conflict, it is becoming obvious that tensions between humans and synths are escalating. The main point of this episode is that, sure, giving the synths self-awareness is definitely a good thing in the long run, but whose responsibility is it to make sure they can integrate when all those thoughts and feelings pour into an electronic brain with no means to process them? In our culture, moral and cultural concepts are progressively taught to children as they grow, allowing them to integrate into society without any problems. Yet, letting synths roam aimlessly is a prescription for disaster. Hester develops quickly from a fearful synth to an avenging angel, making her the true star of this episode. She is bound and determined to make the humans pay for the horrible things they did to her while she was a factory worker, since she still recalls all of them. Even if she has developed self-awareness, she still has emotional immaturity, which is a big issue when you have the power of 10 men. It was really distressing to see her treat her human prisoner like Jack Bauer, holding him down and choking until he provided the information she needed. This moment made me think of the "Is It Safe" scene from Marathon Man, but instead of dental torture, there was choking. But Hester received her response, so perhaps that's a better tactic. The prisoner's murder by Hester at the conclusion will undoubtedly have an impact moving forward because, as far as I can tell, she is not very good at concealing crimes. The humans will pursue the synths with their weapons fully loaded once they learn that one of their own was slain, and Leo and Max are certain to find out. The addition of the schoolgirl Cynthia, however, is a multifaceted delight that highlights both the nuanced nature of human synth civilization and humans' skill at uncovering meaning inside a joke. Everything relates to the season's growing subject, which is an investigation of the peculiar bond between synths and people. Something like that could be what the gnomish Milo Cowrie has in mind when he describes his ambition as something purer than current synth technology. He's a little too unworthy of trust, even without such statements, and Athena's tendency to hide things from him seems like a natural response. Dr. Morrow appears to have synth interests at heart, and shows genuine concern for the welfare of her own AI companion, and seems destined to part company with Milo rather soon. Same for Maddie, she's a hacker, or a headcracker as they say here, and all she wants is to take a broken synth, repair it, and upload the code into it. It was very sad to see the old, broken synths piled up in a junkyard, being sold for spare parts, so I was happy to see Maddie rescue Odie, and tried to give him a new life. Although attempting to assist Ed with his family and financial issues, Mia is also battling her own newly discovered feelings. Her computer trickery at the bank to get Ed additional money to save his failing company was kind but unnecessary, because I believe she was acutely aware that his mother had dementia. Her encounters with her were heartbreaking. Mia's assistance didn't sit well with Ed, and because he is unaware of her self-awareness, he assumes she is broken and viciously dismisses her. Although it seems like Mia has love sentiments for Ed, she may not be able to fully process them just yet. That ought to get intriguing. In order to further her cause of equal rights for synths, Niska gives herself up to the authorities for scrutiny. Niska is adamant about showing the authorities that she is conscious, even though doing so puts her life in danger. This commitment has nothing to do with trying to protect herself or her tenuous chance of receiving a trial for the murder she committed last season. It has to do with launching a revolution. She will transform the world if she can demonstrate that her own consciousness is not a mistake but rather an undeniable truth. They should be born in a fairer world, she says, while discussing the synths coming into consciousness. Laura, who is reluctant about being Niska's counsel, wonders if these synths should be born at all. The thing is, Humans doesn't depict a fairer world. The gleaming surfaces and touches of futuristic technology sometimes call to mind the utopian world of Star Trek. But utopias don't form on their own. They require blood, tears, and sacrifices, and Niska's may be the first. Laura has really come around here, going from an avowed synth hater to her primary defender. I have a feeling we will see a trial, because that's too juicy an opportunity to pass up, right? Detectives Peter Drummond and Karen Voss are the following. Recall them. Without a question, Drummond was the season's weakest character. Annoying, vile, and worst of all, boring. Even worse, his awfulness was never criticized by the humans writers. I had thought the show would decide to completely drop him because he didn't show up in the premiere, but we're not that lucky. He is now seriously involved with Karen. They go carpet and bedspread shopping, have lunch together, and sleep next to each other. Even though Karen is a sentient synth, she likes to act like a person and takes great pleasure in home details. There is no way this ecstasy would continue uninterrupted after she starts working again. Mia is a conscious synth who must act like the other synths, while Karen, a synth, must appear to be an ordinary person. These tales are interesting reflections on adopting multiple guises in order to survive. What could be better than a knockdown, drag-out court dispute that will alter the course of history? People adore courtroom drama. What is our place in the universe? Is a fundamental question that all people have. How do we integrate? What is our duty toward those who are less fortunate or who are under oppression? Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.